Okay.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the stream scene. I hope you guys are having a fantastic start to your week. We're going to open up the show by giving a big shout out to Elgato for sponsoring today's stream. That is not the right thing I wanted to do. It's okay, guys. Okay, there we go. This segment is brought to you by the Elgato Wave. The Elgato Wave 3 is a USB microphone that's more like a microphone and mixer all in one. With Elgato's Wavelink software, you can easily route your audio from hardware or software applications and control the volume for you and your audience independently. Elgato Wave 3 is now available at elgato.com, and we're actually going to be giving away an Elgato Wave 3 here in chat today during the show. You can enter by typing !audio. Otherwise, !Elgato in chat will give you the link for more information. So without further ado, we're going to be talking about online networking today with my lovely co-host, the Hunter Wild. What's up, Hunter? How we doing?
Very productive. We are doing very productive. I am so full of energy and excitement, and there's no shortage of that for our two very incredible guests, friends of mine, friends of ours, collectively. Huge personalities, full of wisdom and delight, just unendingly. Friskk and Negaoryx. Hello, you two. How are you doing today? If you wouldn't mind, also, I love asking multiple questions in a row without giving people an opportunity to answer. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourselves to these beautiful, beautiful viewers of ours, one at a time. We'll start with Friskk.
Oh, okay. That sounds great. Hi, everyone. I had no idea when he was talking about these wonderful, charismatic, amazing streamers. I didn't know he was talking about us. So this is a very, very
Right
cool
there.
thing. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Friskk with 2 Ks. And yeah, I am a content creator here on Twitch. I make TikToks. I do voice acting. I was in the game Hollow Knight. I do audiobooks. I do hosting at events as well. And I do a lot of stuff. So there's if there's something to be done, I do it. I also do YouTube shorts. So
I don't have enough fingers to count these things.
Yeah, I know. I do a lot of things. I do a lot of stuff.
He's actually doing 3 of those things right now as we speak. On the side.
Yes, 3 of them. So yeah, no, it's really cool to be here. Thank you so much for having me. And I'm gonna pass on over to Negs.
Hi, hello. Thank you so much. My name's Negaoryx. I'm a full-time streamer here on Twitch. I'm a variety streamer who usually specializes in playing cute simulation games or narrative-driven single-player story games, or Dead by Daylight, because apparently I can't stop playing that lately either. I'm also a voice actor, a freelance host, and a tabletop RPG player. You can catch me on shows on Table Story and Saving Throw Shell. And I've been doing online networking for a while now, so I don't know if I'm
She's
qualified, but I'm sure gonna try
to.
And y'all are prolific. Like, this
right.
list of stuff y'all do
I feel like I need to justify why I'm here now. Like, I also do things, believe it or not. I mean, it looks like I don't, but...
Ooh, tell us more.
Yeah, tell us more about you. What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
Oh, we don't have to go there. It'd be too long. Anyways, we're going to be talking about networking. And, it has such like a businessy kind of like official name to it. But like, what really is networking, at least to you guys?
I think that getting over the idea that the word networking is this like dirty, bad businessy word is the first step, honestly. When people treat it like it means, I think people hear networking and they think social climbing and they think using people.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But really what I think we need to do is treat it as what it is, which is getting to know people in a business space, getting to know people in your industry, just full stop. Like you're just interacting with people, you're making business connections without needing to become someone's best friend, really. I think that's actually more of a positive than people think that it is. I think you can absolutely become friends with people that you network with, but there's nothing wrong with just meeting people, having positive interactions, forming working relationships with them without it being like meeting people at a mixer that you are trying to invite home for the holidays and send Christmas cards every year,
But that would be nice, honestly.
That would be nice.
It'd be a nice bonus.
But yeah, I think like you make such a good point right off the bat. Like there is such a negative connotation with networking, like where people think it's shallow and divisive, like it's kind of like or deceptive, I should say. And it really isn't. Like genuine networking is super powerful, and it's honestly one of the most effective ways to grow as a creator. Like it's I feel like streaming and content creation, although it could feel like it, is not a lone wolf type game. Like, you have to make those connections because it is a very intricate web of, creators and industry people, right? So I think that's a really good point that you make. Friskk, what about you? What is networking to you?
Networking. Well, to me, everything that Negaoryx just said is, essentially what networking is. It's not about this negative connotation of, social climbing. It's about, making connections with people. And it doesn't matter if they're big, if they're small, if they're medium, size does not matter. In my opinion, when it comes to networking, it's all about just making those connections and treating people the way you want to be treated, treating these people as they are human beings. And that's another thing that I feel some people tend to forget when it comes to networking. They just think that, I'm just going to say hi and I'm going to talk to this community manager because I want something for free. But then they completely forget that these people are people. And, it's networking. It's something. It's something.
You're not wrong.
And I feel like people, you can tell when it's all about being genuine. I think that's the big word you're going to hear multiple times throughout this talk is like, it's all about being genuine because, if you continue to just go to someone to ask for things, then it comes off, especially when it's like, I feel like streamer to streamer, you're just asking for things. Like it comes off as, you don't want to feel used. Like, I feel like a lot of creators get burned by, people, there are people that just want to climb the ladder and, they'll do what it takes. Right. So I think it's important to keep that in mind when you're networking too, where, how does this make the other person feel? Like, how can this be interpreted by them if you're just, coming to them with request after request? Now, obviously that's different when it comes to game devs and community managers and PR people where it's their job to give you a key. Like, you should reach out. Like they really do expect you most of the time only when you want a key. But I feel like streamer to streamer requires a lot more conversation.
It's from my perspective, it's perfectly acceptable and natural to have a use value attached to a person and an interaction, as long as it doesn't exist there by itself, as long as it's not exclusively about the use that somebody can provide. Like, I want to be useful to people. I want to be useful to my friends. I want them to be able to get something out of our relationship, but I also want to be treated as an individual, with all the, various and sundry characteristics that I have and why I matter to you on a personal level. And that's something that should come out of that with that authenticity and that genuineness in terms of making the connection and sustaining it. But the use value is totally okay in addition to everything else.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I guess in a simpler way to look at it, it's sort of like everyone has that one friend, at one point in their lives who had the driver's license, who would drive everyone everywhere. and
I was the older kid in my grade. That was also me.
Right. Yeah. So you exactly know what I'm talking about, because you were always driving everyone everywhere, picking everybody up. You were a car. Some of them didn't even realize that you were a friend. They just saw you as a ride.
Yeah, I'm just a ride.
So it's you're not just the guy with the car who gives us a ride to Chuck E. Cheese. All right, you're that guy who also has feelings and is a human being with likes and dreams and aspirations, and that should definitely be kept in mind.
Can I just say, as a side note, I love this mental image of like high school age Friskk going to Chuck E. Cheese in her friend's car, because that's amazing. I love that so much. I wish that my friends and I had done that. I definitely agree, though. I think it's something that personally I struggle a lot as an introvert whose social batteries are largely drained by streaming itself.
Yeah.
Like, I am the type of person where I really do not need very much human interaction at all to already be at capacity. So to have a job that is so largely dependent on social interaction in so many forms, not just streaming, but obviously what we're here to talk about, networking, both online and in person, that has been one of the biggest challenges for me as a streamer, is to figure out how to navigate minimizing human interaction while maximizing the potential for when I do engage with people. And something that I think, as you mentioned earlier, Loco, we're going to use the word genuine a lot today. The best way to engage with people, for instance, that I've found on social media, is to engage with content in a way that is actually meaningful to you. So if I see someone posting something, let's say they live in LA and they post something of them going to a restaurant that I've also been to, that's always my first instinct, is to be like, oh my gosh, I love ordering insert dish name here. Like, that's my favorite place to go for vegan foods in LA. And that's like an actual genuine connection that I just made. I don't need to comment on every single tweet that they post saying like, love your games, love your streams, host me sometime. I really love your work. Would you considering following me? I've been following you for so long. Like, that doesn't give any way for us to connect in a way that the other person perceives as connection. So on my end, I might feel connected to them because I like their content, but to them, they don't know me. I'm just a name, I'm just an avatar, I'm just a face. So being able to pick and choose how you're trying to connect with people, when there is like a legitimate reason to say like, oh, our kids both watch the same show, I have that song stuck in my head and I hate it too, or whatever it might be. Like, real human connections, you don't need to be trying to be someone's best friend to just have a solid working relationship with them.
Yeah, that is very true. And just when you recognize that, at the end of the day, you might actually make incredible content with said person. It's sometimes I feel like it is also intimidating trying to even reach out to them, which is one of those things. And even for me, even to this day, like, I've been in this for like 5-6 years now, and it's still a little hard. It's still a little difficult, just kind of even just reaching out. And I've gotten to the point where I'm just myself and I reach out, like, so Jambo, I think Jambo makes fantastic content. Love Jambo. And I messaged her the other day and I was just like, hey Jambo, you don't know me. Hi, my name's Chris. I like your content and I think you're cool. I was wondering if you want to play games sometime. And then I started talking to her. She's actually really nice. She's a really nice person. But I guess that's just one way to kind of reach out to people, just kind of being yourself, going, hey, you make cool stuff. I think I make cool stuff. Let's make cool stuff together.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So, and I think that like what you're describing is like collaboration, which is such an important tool for creators. Like for, we've had talks on this show about like YouTubers and like how that's a very collab heavy space. But even with streaming as well, it's kind of one of those fundamental pieces of advice when people are like, how do you grow? Collaborate, like work with other creators, like share your reach with someone else, and vice versa, right? That's a way that helps both parties, and you can create some cool, unique stuff together too.
I think it's really important to note, I feel like the advice of like collaborate with each other is given a lot, because it gives your viewers and your audience a way to really authentically witness other communities without just hosting and rating and hoping viewers stick around. And I think there's a lot to unpack in terms of like, if you don't play online multiplayer games, if you don't ever touch a game that allows you to play with anyone else, if you are someone like me who for the first 3.5 years on Twitch pretty much played like The Sims and Skyrim and things that don't lend themselves to collabs, like how do you go about really authentically networking, not just with other streamers, but with other communities as well? Because absolutely, like since I started playing Dead by Daylight, it's the first time I've played an online multiplayer game where I have the opportunity to like actually game with other people and have other voices coming through my stream that my community can get to know, and vice versa. And it definitely changes the way you approach networking if you don't have the opportunity to say, hey, let's maybe collaborate and like game together sometime. And I think there's so many ways. I know we've talked about this before on a show, and I think it was a show where we talked about kind of like balancing school and work and life and streaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, Hunter, I think you brought up a really good point at the time, which was about like making time in your schedule, not just for your stream, but for social media and to watch other streams and engage in chat. And I think that's huge in terms of networking.
Mhm.
Sometimes I don't have enough spoons to socialize anymore. Like,
yeah, I feel you on
like,
that.
sometimes I'm just like, it is what it is. I can't expend more social energy. Talking to my own chat was enough for the day. But when you do have the energy, I can say personally, the number of times that I have started engaging with someone and with their content and with their community because they came into my chat and hung out for more than a hi and a bye.
Yeah.
Even just 10 minutes of like actually being in my chat, chatting with my community, you know, getting in on a few jokes, watching the gameplay, and then being like, all right, well, I gotta go. It was really nice hanging with y'all. Like those 10 minutes of seeing a streamer in my channel really engaging and not just saying, hey guys, and then dipping makes a world of difference in
really
terms
does.
like I don't know why even just a few minutes makes you feel so much more like, wow, this person actually took time out of their day to check out my content and know what I'm about. But it feels like the difference between getting an email that's like, hey, insert streamer name here, our product is great for you, versus like I've gotten pitch requests where it looks pretty boilerplate and then they go, just as an aside, I really like your Last of Us clip. I really love animals too, and I was really upset, and like your clip made me feel like I wasn't alone. And that one sentence makes me go, oh, they know who I am. They actually know my content. And they're really reaching out to me because they know me. And it makes me look into their stuff more, you know?
It has become personal there, I think.
Yeah. So I think a lot of what we're coming back to already is like making it personal, you know? Showing that you actually either know people and their content or that you're wanting to get to know people and their content. Makes a big difference in terms of standing out from a sea of people going, play with me.
Right. Yeah. So Twitch is like one of these platforms that can provide a very personal way to network, right? Because you get to see the person, there's a chat, right? It's super personal. And, you know, I think to the difference of what you're saying, where it's like someone saying hi and then just like not saying anything, you know, I think that's like, for friends and stuff, it makes sense, right? Because we're all busy and like your friend just stops by, lets you know they're there and maybe they're lurking and they go off. But like if I don't know you, then I don't have a chance to get to know you if you don't spend any more time. Like, you know, even if you have like a partner badge, that's not going to make me instantly be like, oh, okay, let me follow you. And like, you know, just we're instant friends, right? Like, you know, and I think it's important to kind of dedicate that time to other people's streams, and especially if like you do want to get to know them, right? Like actually spend a few minutes, chat a little bit. I think, you know, what Neg said is just on point. Like it really does, it means a lot. It goes a long way to make those type of commitments.
Absolutely. And I think the reason we even recognize that is because as streamers ourselves, we wear so many hats. There's so many things that we do. It's like we wake up, we take care of our animals, maybe get some exercise in, eat breakfast, take care of emails, stream, stop streaming, take care of more emails, take care of whatever else we have to get done, eat dinner, shower, sleep, rinse, repeat. And sometimes there isn't a lot of time in between a lot of the things that we do in the background that, you know, we don't have a lot of time to really go out there and go to as many streams as we want, you know, go see all of our friends stream. Sometimes, you know, the actual times just don't line up because, you know, we stream at the same time, or, you know, it just doesn't, those ends just don't get the opportunity to meet. So when we see people in our chat spending, you know, 5, 10, 15 minutes having, you know, a casual chat in our channel with our community, getting to know us, getting to know our communities, you know, the things that we have built together, and, you know, just hanging out, it makes a huge difference. It goes, wow. So I barely know this person, but they're in my channel. They're hanging out. They're getting to know my community that I love so much. They're getting to know me as well. And this is just like a general outreach. This is really nice. And it's like, you know what? I definitely want to get to know this person too. I want to go check out their content. I want to spend some time on them because they took a moment to spend some time on me.
Yeah. And it also shows, like, if you go and raid or host them, and they like know your community, they know your content, they can like ask how you're doing. That actually creates a really strong connection with the viewers that are coming in that may not know this person at all. And all of a sudden, like, you know, they know that my community members are called loonies. They're like, oh, hey, how are the loonies? How's everyone doing? Like, that instantly is going to make a viewer like that much more connected to this new person that they don't know at all, and make them feel more welcome in the new channel. So it really does pay off too, in terms of like, you know, dedicating that time to other people's content.
I think another factor that comes into play there too is, to some of the earlier points, is attention span and retention. And I know for me, when I'm streaming, my attention is divided at its absolute cap to trying to play the game well, run my inner monologue to an outer monologue, and reading chat. And that's where I cap out. If somebody comes in, says hi, and then I don't see them again, they're gone in 5 seconds. If they stick around and they're chatting for 10 minutes, it's much more difficult to forget about that engagement, that interaction, when the stream is done. It kind of bubbles back up. It comes back up in my memory and my recollection. So I think it plays a role just in terms of attention and recollection of that, like having it kind of fixate into the memory, as opposed to that fleeting pop in, pop out, disappear. Doesn't do anything.
Yeah. And so one of the things that Negs mentioned was, you know, what if you don't play multiplayer games? Like, how do you make those connections? Like, how do you collaborate? And I think one of the ways that you can go about this is like stream teams, basically, like doing something that is different from your normal content and maybe coming together to put together something unique. And, you know, this can have a lot of different looks to it. So one of the things that me and our team, we do is we kind of take turns on different people's channels. And so we're all playing the same game under one channel, so that it kind of encourages people from all the different channels to like come and actually see what everyone else is like, because, you know, viewers can be a little stubborn when it comes to like, you know, watching someone new, no matter how many times you raid or host or shout someone out, right? So, you know, even just taking a day to do something a little bit different, and maybe even if it's just on someone else's channel, can help if you're kind of feel stuck because you're not doing multiplayer games.
I think also if you're playing a game that's not multiplayer, looking at where the community for that game congregates if they don't play online together is really important. Like The Sims, they have their own gallery where you can upload creations, you can download each other's houses, each other's Sims, etc. And it uses a hashtag system. So if someone creates a build challenge, for instance, which is like, I build the house, you decorate it in your own style, and then I'll stream looking at all of the houses that everyone did with my design, for instance. That's a great, organic, easy way to network with other content creators that create Sims content. Create your own challenge, share it on social media, share it on the gallery, participate in other people's challenge, do a stream where you're, you know, reviewing the houses of that challenge. If it seems that the community around the game is bigger on Instagram, like Animal Crossing is huge on Instagram, for instance, when a lot of games aren't. Tumblr, Twitter, whatever it might be, figure out where you can engage with not just other content creators, but just people who are passionate about the game. And then being able to host and raid not just your friends, but new people in that same directory is a fantastic way to expand your circle and to expand the pool of essentially like potential viewers that you might draw from. I cannot stress enough, like I used to, when I streamed The Sims, just go into the Sims directory and raid anyone that was streaming under like LGBTQIA tags, like new player, learning the game kind of thing, anything that seemed like my community might connect with it. And that's how I met one of my best friends. who I've like has spent the night at my house, and we've gone to conventions together, and like she's a ride or die friend for me, and I just met her through the Sims community. Being able to not be shy about expanding your circle, especially when you're a small streamer, being able to expand your circle with other content creators who are at a similar size to you, I think is really helpful. Rather than like having 15 viewers and hosting someone with like 20,000 who's never even going to know that you hosted them. Hosting someone who's also like 20 viewers, 30 viewers, 40 viewers kind of gives you the chance to more organically get to know people that are at a similar point in their journey as you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And on top of that, just to kind of riff off of that. So one of the things that I think people should definitely take into consideration is those audience sizes and making sure they're staying sort of within their range. Because a lot of the time when you see someone with like 7 viewers raid someone with thousands of viewers, etc., you know, it just doesn't, I guess, look right. Like it's just going to get lost. I feel like stuff like that sometimes just gets lost in the void. And you need to keep in mind that just because someone has thousands of viewers doesn't mean that you're going to make the best content with them. You know, you could end up, I don't know, becoming friends with this person with thousands upon thousands of viewers, and you could end up playing multiplayer games with them. And yes, they might boost your view count by 5 or something. But at the end of the day, if you're not making good content with them and you don't get along well with them, their community is going to see that. They're not going to be entertained. They're not going to be entertained because you guys are barely entertaining each other and you're not really working together. And they're honestly not going to care about you and they're going to forget about you. But if you decide you want to go and, you know, rate someone within your area, you know, somebody else with 15 viewers or so, and let's say it turns out that you guys get along fantastically, your personalities just mesh, you make some of the best content, you know, you're going to get a lot more of a response when you're making that amazing content with those people versus trying to go after someone because they have really good numbers.
Right. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's the content that's key, right? It's the quality of the content. You could have, you know, front page time on Twitch, as much exposure as possible. And if you're not making good content, none of that's going to stick around, right? So, yeah, no, excellent point there.
Yeah. I will. Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say that I think you're far better off collaborating with somebody with 5 viewers where you jive really well than with somebody with 20,000 viewers where you end up creating crap content at the end of the day because you don't fit well together. You're more likely to lose some of your regular viewers who are just like, I can't watch this anymore.
Yeah, no, actually,
and they duck out.
I had something like that happen to me where I was playing, it was like back in the H1Z1 days, and I ended up playing with a much larger streamer who was like not family friendly at all. And not only did that do nothing for me because our audiences are not alike in any way, but even my own audience were just like taken aback because I was clearly uncomfortable because he was like dropping F-bombs every 5 seconds. And they're uncomfortable too because they're used to like a complete different vibe. So it really didn't even matter.
The one thing that I do want to note, just in case anyone is like sitting there taking notes, it's important to note that it's not to say that you should never host someone with a larger view count than you. We're very specifically talking about networking right now. Like if you end your stream and there's a huge charity stream going on and you're like, well, I really want to send my community to watch like Games Done Quick. They're doing great work for charity and it's fun. Like rate who you want to rate in terms of who you want your audience to see, like which content you want your audience to see. It just very specifically, we are talking about it through the lens of networking. I just wanted to make sure I was being super clear about that because there's absolutely value in introducing your audience to any type of content that you endorse and that you think they'd enjoy. But yeah, in terms of networking, just like Friskk was saying, if you are in a channel with like 5,000 viewers and they don't even notice that you rated, it doesn't do much in the long run if you're really trying to work on networking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like, I think any of the advice we give is not strictly black and white, right? Like, you know, to that point, like there's not 0% chance that like someone that's larger than you is never going to want to talk to you ever, right? Like that's not what happens either. But this is just general advice for like, you know, generally you're going to have much more success networking with people your size, common interests, right? Like people that, you know, would have a mutual benefit from the relationship, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
So what does this look like on Twitter? Because we talked a little bit about Twitch, but you know, I think Twitter's, you know, definitely one of the most important platforms for this type of networking. What does it look like on Twitter?
Twitter definitely goes hand in hand with Twitch. I think when it comes to important platforms, it's like Twitch and then immediately Twitter. Twitter is where I feel a lot of the content creators from all platforms honestly interact. You know, it's not just people from Twitch. You also have people who are coming from YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, you know, all walks of life. So Twitter is a great way to just connect with not just the people who are creating content, but also as well as community managers and representatives of companies that you could potentially want to work with in the future.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So so everyone is going to be on there, and the way you interact on Twitter is I would say it's almost kind of similar with Twitch. Almost it's kind of like the same thing with treating people, you know, the way you want to be treated and interacting with other people's content. Like if you see something that they're doing, I notice, you know, a lot of streamers will put clips of their stream, like funny moments and stuff like that. It gives you the opportunity to really comment and just be like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious. It's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. And you can sort of interact with them. And, you know, they might interact with you, they might not interact with you, but they're not going to know if you exist or not if you're not interacting with them.
I
that
think
removes the possibility altogether.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a great point. Like you might feel really connected to a creator because you watch their stream every day, you like every tweet they put out, like you really are engaged. But if you don't interact in a way that they can like directly see and notice, and in a way that forms like connections in their brain, I guess, for lack of a better way to put it, how are they supposed to know? You know, there was a streamer that I followed before I got partnered, and I went into their channel all the time. I watched their stream pretty much every day that they were live, and I would always have it up like while I was cooking, and I liked everything she posted on Twitter, and you know, I would reply if I had something interesting to say, but I never came into her chat saying like, sorry, I missed the start of the stream. I had to wrap my own stream up first. Or I never left to be like, sorry, I'm going to go stream now. I probably hung out every single stream for like a year. And then it wasn't until I got partnered and she saw the check mark that she went, you stream? And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't want to mention it. But it was really nice because I was able to form an organic bond with a lot of members of her community without ever mentioning that I streamed. Like naturally, you know, her mods would click on my name and they noticed that I had videos on my channel, and people started slowly just following because I was there all the time. I was chatting. We got to know each other. And eventually, after just engaging organically on social media, she followed me back. You know, we would host and raid each other. And it ended up becoming a really nice like friendly acquaintanceship of mutuals without pressing for it. And I think that there's a big emphasis on like not being pushy and not leaving a bad taste in people's mouth, for lack of a better way to put it. I've definitely had people immediately, like, I'm sure we've all experienced this. They host and raid you like 3 times in a week or something. And you're like, who's this person that just popped up out of nowhere? And then you get hit with the like, hey, can I join your stream team? Or, hey, will you do this thing with me? Or will you host me? Will you participate in this event I'm doing? Where you can kind of see that people pop up out of nowhere, want to put a couple coins into the vending machine of friendship, and then not talk to you again once you don't immediately reciprocate. You know?
That's exactly the right putting the coins into the yes.
Yeah, and then they shake it when the candy bar doesn't come out, and you're like, please stop. That was the incorrect amount of money. Please stop pressing the buttons. And I have been very mindful for myself of not doing that to people. And there's so many different ways to approach networking. Mine definitely is not the fastest. I am not the type of person that's pushy about it and like barging down, knocking down doors and stuff. But I have found that I'm much more comfortable with the people in my circle as a result. And I know that we all engage with each other because we really want to,
I think slow and steady is the best way to approach it in the first place. I mean, if you're only planning on streaming for a year, then you don't have to take a slow and steady approach, but it also doesn't necessarily matter all that much because you have a cutoff. Nobody's planning on only streaming for a year. Most of us have this idea of being in it for the long haul. And I feel like that's just the way to make the best sort of relationship investments is to let them percolate, to put that roast in the oven for a long time and not just give it a quick pan sear.
Absolutely.
I haven't eaten much today. I don't know.
Yeah, I heard pan sear and I'm like,
hungry. I do think that's really true though, because the number of times that I'll see someone host me that'll have 4 or 5 viewers, and sometimes you'll see them do it like a couple times in 1 week and then you never hear from them again. And you definitely get the impression that it's like, this isn't someone that engages with your content. It's someone that's just hoping to get a shout out or to get something in return or whatever it might be. But the number of times that people have done that, maybe just like once every other week or once a month, and they keep coming back and they watch the stream occasionally, and doing that over an extended period of time is absolutely what makes me interested in getting to know them more, because I can tell that they're just genuinely there because they like my content and they want to share it with my viewers. And as somebody that puts a huge emphasis on community, I love at the end of my stream being able to be like, we're going to go raid a community member. This is someone who's been in the family for a long time and they're celebrating, a stream anniversary or a birthday or whatever it might be. But I certainly don't do that because someone replies to a tweet and they don't follow me on Twitter and they say, will you play this game with me sometime, because that's not super meaningful, or there's no connection there.
Streamer, say my name.
Yeah. Yeah, that I don't like that so much. I'm not a big fan of that.
And
I don't think any of us are.
The interesting thing is, like, we talk about like, how many viewers do you have, like, to network with people around your size, but like, I would say most of us like disregard that when we're making a genuine relationship anyways. Like, at the end of the day, it really is about the way that those connections are made. So like, if someone raids you with 5 viewers and you have 1,000, like, yeah, okay, that doesn't really do anything statistically, but like, if that's a regular community member, like, I'm going to shout them out. I like to be like, hey, how was your stream? Thank you for the raid. Thank you for the host. Like, it doesn't matter how many viewers you raided with. The fact that you genuinely did that, versus someone who you've never seen before that hosts you for the same amount. And you're like, a little more dodgy. Like, are they just doing that for their own gain, or like, are they trying to be a part of the community?
Yeah,
I do.
Oh, sorry. Go.
No, go ahead.
No. All
right, Hunter, you go.
Yeah. Hunter, say something instead. I was going to pivot to something different. So if you had something to piggyback off of Loco, please go ahead.
I don't.
All right. I was gonna say, in terms of, we touched upon it like super briefly just a second ago, but networking with brands versus networking with other streamers. And we kind of like mentioned it, but didn't get super in depth in it. And something that I think is really important to remember is, this is going to sound so finicky and annoying, but there are no brands on social media. There are people running brands' social media accounts. You're not engaging with a brand, you're engaging with the people that represent the brand. And so if you're like, how do I get I don't know, PlayStation to notice me, like adding PlayStation and everything, that's a massive company and they are probably not going to see what you're doing. But being able to look up, let's say you're playing a specific game by them. Let's say, I don't know, a game like The Last of Us Part 2. Look up people who worked on the game and look at their social media, not to badger them or anything, but in terms of like, if they're all coming out with content about the game, being able to reply and say, hey, that background design that you did really was beautiful, and I mentioned it on stream and I loved it, or whatever it might be. Like being able to connect with community managers, with people that worked on the game, in not in a way where you're asking for something, but engaging with them again in a personal way about how you enjoy the content that they create professionally, is huge. And I feel like people mostly focus on engaging with just the one brand channel. And again, this is not about asking for keys for games. This is not the way to ask for a key for a game, but just in terms of forming connections with people who work in the industry. It's really wonderful to be able to engage with someone based on their work specifically, and not just like the one nebulous Xbox account or the PlayStation Twitter or whatever it might be. And I can say personally, I have a really exciting thing happening this year that I'm not allowed to announce yet because of NDAs, but it all happened because I followed someone on Twitter because I saw they worked for that company, really organically engaged with their stuff, and met them at a convention in person. And just from being polite and being kind and getting to know each other, they reached out with an opportunity that I never in a million years would have had my foot in the door for, ever. Just because nice people like working with nice people.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
like,
you heard it here, guys. Cook Serve Delicious 5 confirmed by Negaoryx, coming out this year.
No, don't do that. I wish, though. I wish. Oh my God, how cool would that be? But really, like, I think people would be surprised what a difference it makes engaging with someone as a person and not just as a nebulous big brand account.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it goes back to that authenticity thing again, I think. You end up, in terms of the use value, you end up potentially also creating the opportunity for, like water cooler talk. If something comes up in conversation amongst individuals within the brand, if you've been interacting with several of them on personal levels, you've increased significantly the chances that your name is going to pop up. And or when it does pop up, somebody else is like, oh yeah, that'd be great to work with them. I've been talking with them for a couple of months on Twitter already. Fantastic person.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
It makes such a huge difference, and something that people stress a lot as well, and it's because it's entirely true, is a lot of people hop around from different companies in the games industry. So someone who's the community manager for one game, they're not necessarily going to be the community manager for small indie game A for forever and all eternity, and this is not to say, of course, with the unending forever in place caveat, don't be nice to people just because they might be somewhere else one day. Be nice to people because you're a nice person and everyone deserves to be treated with respect. But that being said, especially when it comes to networking, it's like everyone might end up somewhere else one day. So you never want to, I guess I would say, if there's someone that you have a nice connection with and you're like, wow, as humans, we both really love going to Disneyland, or we're both vegan, or we both love hiking with our dogs, whatever it might be. There's no reason to be like, I'm not going to put emotional energy into keeping up this connection with someone because they work on a game that I'm not really interested in. And I only have time for my business and like what's important to me, because again, if we're talking about networking, you never know where someone might end up, and you never know what they might keep you in mind for. Mm-hmm. And again, I want to say every single gig that I booked last year, like every single thing that I got paid to do, whether it was a con, a promotional appearance, voiceover, whatever it might be, was not because I directly applied for something, but because someone knew me from something else, or they had worked with me when they were at a different company, or we met at a party and had a really nice social interaction. And so they just wanted to work with kind, respectful people, and they knew I would do a good job. Like every single gig I got last year was from positively networking with people.
Yeah, and treating people the way they want to be treated, like the way you would want to be treated. It's one of the most important things is just to remember that they're people as well. And you know, if you treat them badly, if you decide you met someone at a convention and you're just like, oh yeah, what's your username on Twitter? Oh, all right, cool. Let me check that out real quick. 165 followers. Yeah, I gotta go. Yeah, if you are one of those people and you treat them like that, and then all of a sudden you need something from them someday, you know, they're like a telltale game. They will remember this. Like, they will remember this. And when they remember, you're gonna be real upsetty spaghetti, let me tell you, honey.
And I really do think the reverse is true as well. I remember a friend of mine was at a convention and she was stopped by a company that had a booth on the show floor. And they were like, before we enter this conversation, how many followers do you have? And she literally was just like, I'm sorry, I don't know what your product is. I don't know who you are. I don't know what your company does. Why would I be giving you stats first? And they were very rude about it. And they were essentially like, well, if you can't even give us that, then we don't want to work with you. And I can say that person is a wonderful content creator with a great audience who told everyone that they knew that company had those shady business practices. And you want to know, I was going to say, and when they approach other people, do other people want to work with them? No, other people said no because they heard that they were rude, you know? So A, people talk both on this side and on the other side. And B, we talk a lot about networking in terms of when we want something, how do we achieve it? But you can't forget that other people, like you have value and other people are going to try to network with you to get things from you. And like know what's right for you and know what's not. And so much of networking is figuring out how to do it positively on the giving end in your instance, but it's also about knowing what to receive from other people. Like know your own worth, and you don't have to take everything that comes your way just because you don't want to say no to people as well.
That's a whole that's gonna be a top. We're gonna bring that into a whole show. That one.
People don't talk about it enough. I feel like we're so driven and so goal-oriented as streamers. A lot of the time we talk about how to get where we want to go and how to accomplish the things we want to accomplish. And we don't always talk about how to spot the things that we don't want to do, or how to say no to things, or say no to people that we don't want to work with, which is a very relevant thing right now. Being able to suss out who you do and don't want to work with.
For sure. Yeah, we definitely need to do a show just on determining your worth as a creator, because it's like one of our most asked questions of like, how do you even figure this out? Like, you know, working for exposure versus money. Yeah, no, great topic. We are getting towards the end of our show, so I want to make sure we get through. We have some good questions, so I want to make sure we get through these. In terms of platforms, do you guys use Discord or Instagram or any other platforms for networking?
What's Discord? What is that?
We're in it right now, Friskk.
I thought this was TeamSpeak. Oh, well, a hot diggity dog. Oh, well, darn. Well, I mean, I love Discord. Discord's fantastic. I think Discord is one of the best ways to have your, you know, keep your community together and do things with them offline, keeping everyone in the know. You can use it for announcements. I think Discord is pretty fantastic. In terms of networking, everyone uses Discord. So if you don't know how to use Discord, I would say learn, because it is it is such an important tool. Especially if, let's say you find someone you want to collaborate with network wise, you know, they're bound to have their own Discord, or even possibly they maybe have just one just for friends, and you want to make sure you can jump in there and hang out with them and do stuff and things. So it's very important.
Yeah, I definitely think, like, I've seen other streamers be in my Discord, and not active in the sense that like they're in there every day chatting and sharing memes or anything, but they will genuinely chime in, or I'll see if there are other streamers that stream Animal Crossing. I have so many Animal Crossing channels in my Discord, and other streamers will be in there, you know, sharing resources or whatever it might be. And I'm going to be real honest, like I've done days where I don't have it in me emotionally or mental health wise to stream, and I'll check my Discord to see if there's a community member streaming, and I've been like, hey, this community member is doing a charity stream today. I'm not live, so go show them some love, and I'll link it out or whatever it might be. Like, it's a great way to connect with other people. Being able to chat in other streamers' discords as well. It's that same kind of extra mile thing of seeing someone spend more than 5 minutes in your stream where you're like, oh wow, they actually are interested in what I do here, and they're interested in getting to know my community members. I forget that I have Instagram. I maybe post once every 2 months, and I barely even remember to check my own comments, let alone engage with other people's posts. Instagram is like the biggest thing that I'm not engaging with, I guess. But that's also because, again, like, I'd love to be this perpetual motion content creator machine that does YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and TikTok and whatever the new thing is that I don't know about because I don't keep up with trends. Like, I'd love to do all that, but as a human that has limitations, I give a timer to myself. I use a time tracking tool as well, so I can see how many hours I'm really putting into my business with networking. And I say, I spent X amount of minutes streaming, hours streaming, X amount of hours answering emails, video editing, replying to comments on my own tweets, engaging with other people's content, watching other streams, whatever it might be. And using a time tracking app to do that as well. I have a project that I file it under that's all networking, and I can see how many hours I spent on creating my own content, engaging with other people's content, and, you know, I balance my work hours like that.
That's professional.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've found that it helps a lot with not just mindlessly scrolling on social media. And it also helps me feel like less imposter syndrome, because a lot of the times at the end of the day, I'm like, why do I feel so burnt out when I only do 6 hour streams? That's not that much. 6 hours, 5 days a week. Why am I so burnt out? And then I look and it's like, oh, because it's 14-hour days. I'm just only streaming 6 hours. So the one that I used personally, obviously not sponsored, but I use something called Toggle, Toggl, which is free as well. And it's helped a lot for me in terms of maximizing the hours I work and mental health wise, feeling like I'm not completely failing to do my job every week. So highly recommend if that sounds helpful for anyone.
For sure. Time blocking out portions of your day, your week that are dedicated to, I mean, any number of things, but this is one of the things I've started to work on more lately. Time blocking out stuff for networking, which just includes, you know, personal relationships or whatever. I'll put that all in the same kind of category because, you know, our business is inherently social and professional at the same time. A lot of those relationships are just fluid, but making sure that I have a cap so that I don't overexpend and run into an anxiety spiral down the road, but still make sure that I'm getting it done and leading that fulfilling life that requires personal relationships.
So how much time do you guys spend networking?
So many.
So much.
You tell.
So much time.
I mean, so I actually try to keep myself on a time limit as well. It doesn't always work out, but I guess it's all about trying to figure out which platforms you really want to put however much time in. So like if I were to suggest anything to anyone, I would say it's definitely Twitch and Twitter, hands down, 110%. Instagram, biggest waste of life. The biggest waste of life. So the algorithm with Instagram is really, really crazy and insane. And the way that you would interact with people on Twitter, you do the same thing on Instagram, except you have to do it like 20 times more than that. And I did an experiment with my dog's Instagram, and I was like, okay, I would like to, you know, make an attempt to try and grow this. Let me see how I can do that. So there was one night I couldn't sleep. So I spent about 4 hours looking at hashtags that were relevant to them, and then going to these people's pictures and then liking a few of their stuff, commenting on their posts, following them. And then eventually they would kind of want to interact with me as well. It took me about 4 hours to gain about 150 followers. And I was over here going, this is too bad. I just can't do this. This is so much work. So making sure you're trying to figure out where you want to, I guess, expend yourself. But yeah, no, it's definitely Twitter.
Yeah, I think it does depend a little bit on what platform you're focusing on trying to grow. Like if you're trying to get into Instagram seriously, then Instagram should be your number one, right? If you're trying to stream, then Twitch should probably be your number one. I think Twitter is good for any other platform. Like I think having a Twitter account is super helpful for almost any platform. That was it. That's all I got. Add on to that.
I mean, it's true. So yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to know what your goals are and then to break that down in terms of how many hours you have in a day to work.
Oh my God, yes.
Because honestly, like I would love to be doing YouTube right now. When I'm honest with myself, I do not have the spoons. I just physically don't right now. And maybe in a month or two, I will. But the balance of mental health, personal life, streaming, everything else I'm doing, you know, tabletop stuff, keeping up with my own behind the scenes things, unannounced stuff. Like you have to figure out what balance looks like for you and then know what to cut, where to trim the fat to like make the projects that are your main priority as successful as they can be, I guess. And then that kind of ties back into what you were saying, Loco, about Twitter being this like hub and the most important of the social medias, because if I continue to focus my priorities on Twitch number one, Twitter number two, then when I am ready to focus on adding YouTube into the mix, I can promote it through my Twitch and my Twitter. And then it's a vertical integration of being able to tie those all together. Yeah, I was going to say, highly recommend if y'all are interested in like businessy side of things, do some research on what vertical integration looks like. Certain companies are more well known for doing it than others, but Disney is a great example, meaning they integrate their intellectual property across their TV shows, their movies, their theme parks, their merchandise, whatever it is, and they use all the different arms of their business to funnel back into the other ones and promote the other ones. And I look at those kind of business strategies a lot with streaming and with voiceover stuff and hosting work, and everything is vertically integrated as a brand when you're creating content online.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it comes down to just your brand, right? Like it doesn't really matter what platforms you're focusing on, like as long as you're growing the brand.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So how much time are you spending, Negs? Because you got a time tracker.
Were there like other questions for today? Are we running out of time? Or it looks like it's time to wrap
I haven't forgotten about this. I mean,
oh gosh, I want to say too much time, but I know that's not true because I have done the math. I genuinely do spend a couple hours because for me, like doing an hour a day isn't enough in terms of like not just posting your own stuff, because obviously like when we're doing our own posts too, you're either editing the video, editing photos, taking photos, you know, like writing the copy yourself, figuring out what it is that you're trying to convey, what time of day to post it. I always schedule, if I'm doing a tweet that's like an announcement or something, I schedule time the next day to reply to people who responded on the first day, mostly because I'll usually announce stuff before I stream, then I stream. I'll interact with other people's social media after I wrap up the stream, after I've eaten dinner. And then the next day, I'll go back and interact with replies on my own posts, as opposed to doing that immediately. And the two reasons for that are, one, I don't like dealing with my own stuff. Like I'm very introverted, and I like giving myself distance and time to hide in my turtle shell about it. But two, just from an analytics perspective, waiting to engage with people's replies then puts it on other people's timeline the next day who may have missed it when you first posted it. Whereas if I'm replying to all of the replies the second I tweet something, you're kind of limiting the scope of people who might see it. Because think of it as like bumping posts up. Basically.
It is like a bump if you wait like I think over an hour and then reply to someone. I also, I'm not sure if this is true, kind of a side thing, but is there an initial value to that like interaction at first, like the likes, the retweets, and the comments, and then you're engaging and then replying? Like that might have a little bit of value to it too. I usually do like try to find at least one thing to reply to like an hour later, a couple hours later, to like rebump it up though.
Yeah, I think that's a really good example too of like, there's definitely better ways to maximize like your return on investment for your time there and engagement and stuff. I just so quickly reach my own limit of socialization, that
Yeah.
that's a really good example actually of like, I could be maximizing social media better, but I know where to draw the line for how much I have interacted with humans per day. And so my way of doing that is I usually do my own posts at the start of the day. I stream, I answer emails, and then I look at my friends' stuff and I try to reply to other people's posts and things at the end of the day. So that usually breaks up into, I want to say probably 3 hours a day, average. But if it's a day where I'm not streaming, I make up those hours by interacting with people in other ways if I'm not on stream. So then that hour bumps up, and then I'm spending like 6 hours engaging with other people's content because I'm not streaming. So.
But you have the spoons for it that day.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another great thing as well. If you're kind of balancing your schedule and you're finding that you're someone like me who can't stream 7 days a week because socially that's just too draining for you. Spending that time networking and like watching other people's content, hanging out in chats, responding to other people's tweets and stuff can be a really nice organic way to fit that into your schedule without feeling burdened or burnt out.
Yeah. I definitely spend about almost the same. I want to say around 3 to 4 hours in terms of, just Twitter. Usually I spend 3 to 4 hours with Twitter. Usually in the mornings or after streams, I want to say I usually spend about an hour or two on emails at the same time. So I'll be doing emails, but then I'll also be trying to jump into other streams that I haven't seen or saying hi to people or even discovering new streams. So it's... Oh, there's so many hours. There's just not enough hours in a day to get everything done that we really want to get done. Yeah.
Speaking of emails, is it worth doing cold emails to even like streamers for like collaboration opportunities? Cold emails, like emailing someone that you don't know for an opportunity.
It's a good question. I don't think I've ever actually done that. Usually if I want to reach out to someone, I do it through Twitter. And I'll just be like, hi, I like your tweets. You wanna go on some quests sometime? That's just me and my awkward self. I'm just like, hello, and I usually do that through Twitter. So I don't usually send cold emails. However, yeah, I guess it depends on what you're trying to do, what your outreach is in general. Like what's the purpose for it. So let's say you're trying to work with certain companies. So maybe sending a cold email to get a conversation started, that definitely works out. If there is someone who specifically says, I want emails if you want to collab with me or do anything, then I guess you're sending a cold email. But I feel like Twitter is almost just a little bit more personable.
Yeah.
Email just feels a bit informal.
I absolutely agree. I think if you're reaching out to businesses, for sure, noting the way that they like to be contacted, primarily it's going to be email. If they're like a really small indie game dev, maybe they'll have something in their bio saying like DMs open here on Twitter or whatever. But for the most part, I think like purely like business with companies through email. If you're like another streamer trying to reach out to a streamer, I would say it depends on the context. Like personally, the only reason why I would want another streamer to cold email me is if it's for a business opportunity, which I guess there's even so many things there where it's like, are you mutuals or not? Or have you never heard of this person before? Because if we're mutuals, usually what'll happen, I've had people DM me to say like, hey, I'm a part of a charity event. They're looking for more people and I thought of you. And then I say, hey, thanks for thinking of me. My business email is in my bio. Feel free to let the organizers know to reach out to me directly. Other than that, though, I really like to keep my business email things that are like voiceover opportunities, sponsorships, like keys, requests to work together in a professional setting. I like to keep it business and not just like, hey, you're not following me, so I can't DM you. So I decided to circumvent that by reaching out via email. Want to play games together? Because that feels like it's a misunderstanding the relationship that is non-existent there,
Yeah.
And I'm really big about boundaries. Like I'm such an introvert and I really barely even make time to socialize with people that I already know and like. So for somebody to like reach out when I have no idea who they are, asking me to socialize with them. It's like, buddy, I'm having a hard enough time pulling it together to socialize with my friends. I can't socialize with people I don't know right now.
I can't even socialize with my dog right now. Okay, he's in the sleeping all day. This actually rolls into a great question asked by Steven Spawn, who says, can we talk about not knowing like when to take the hint of someone like, not reciprocating, not interested in the relationship?
Definitely.
How do you take a hint?
Oof. Yeah, you take the hints by just, I guess, understanding those social cues when they're not responding, when they are very reluctant to respond, when their responses are incredibly short and usually negative.
Yeah, if it's short but positive, that's like, well, like I sometimes I'll just respond with like, yeah, sure, talk to me later. And it's like, that's positive. But if it's
like if you're going, hey, you want to do something, and they hit you with like the no thanks, but they didn't even have the energy to put an A there or use a K, and it's like THNX, it's like, there's just nothing you can do.
This is so weird. This is exactly what Negs does to me all the time. I
was gonna say, if we could stop revealing my secrets of how I've tried to shake Loco for the past couple of years, I'd really appreciate it. No, I think that's a really good point. I will say, I think it's important to note this again. Goes back to intent and what you're looking to get out of a dynamic. There's an industry professional who I think like I would consider myself kind of mutuals and on par with in the industry, who I've been following for years. I always engage with their content. I love what they do. I think they have a really strong voice, and I appreciate the content that they create. And they have never followed me back, never engaged with any of my replies, never done anything like that. And for me, it's like I follow them and I engage with them because I think what they create is valuable, and I'm not looking for anything to be reciprocated there. So for me, that's like, I'm just going to keep engaging with the content because I'm not asking anything of them. I never reply to their tweets saying like, loved this video, let's make one together sometime. I'm just saying like, yeah, that was a really great perspective you had about insert, community guidelines thing here that we're all talking about on Twitch or whatever it might be. So that's a little different. If your circles of people that you're following and engaging with include people that you just appreciate their content and their voice, I think it's not, we definitely don't want to say like, if somebody's not showing an interest in your engagement of their content, it doesn't mean you have to stop doing that. You can like the content that you like without receiving anything in return from it. That being said, if you are trying to collab with someone and you're getting the cold shoulder, I wish I had a really good piece of advice to give. I don't think I have ever asked someone to play games before ever, because I have intense anxiety. So one thing that I think from the perspective of someone who never reaches out that you can do is you can kind of test the waters a little bit by kind of putting it out there that, let's say if someone hosts or raids you while you're playing a game that they also play, you can always say like, thanks so much for coming over on that raid. Oh, I see you were playing Fortnite. If that's why you're streaming right now, you can be like, I'm just getting into this game as well. And I would definitely like, oh gosh, I can't wait to check out your content of it. I'm sure I can learn a lot from you. And let me know if you ever want to get together with games. If you ever want to get together and play a game, it's nice to say it not in a like, would you want to play games together one day? But saying, hey, my inbox is always open if you ever want a game together, is a really nice way where they can ignore it if they don't want to. And then they can go, yeah, okay, well, I'm going to run now. And you're like, got it. All right, that was really shot me down. But saying it in a way that doesn't require a response, but allows them to know that the door is open, I have found personally is the best thing, because anyone who does want to collab with you at that point, you've made it clear. And if they don't, it's going to be pretty clear as well, because you're never going to get that DM, That being said, also be mindful of people coming back if you ever have an experience in the future where you see an unexpected surge of growth. Knowing, we talked about this earlier, collabing with people who have a way higher view count than you just because, climbing that ladder. Like, just because people are suddenly taking note of you one day doesn't mean they're the right fit for you and your content. And yeah, I think the biggest thing at the end of the day is removing pressure from people. You don't want to make people feel like they're pressured to give you an answer or to collab in any way, you know?
Yeah. I'll even give an example. Here's an actual real life example. Are you ready, guys? Hey, Negs. So I saw that earlier you were talking about how you play Dead by Daylight. And I just want to let you know that I love Dead by Daylight. I'm actually a fog whisperer and I play DBD almost every single day. So if you're ever looking for friends to play with, you know, I would absolutely love to play with you if you'd like. I just wanted to let you know that door's open in there.
I feel like I'm being proposed to.
I know, I was just gonna say.
I feel like I want to stick my hand out and be like, yes, 1,000 times, yes, every day, yes. Yes, please. I want to play games with you. Yay, absolutely.
She said yes, guys.
I was gonna say now when we duo stream together, we can be like, thank you. Thank you so much, Stream Scene, for setting us up like this. Yes, I would love that.
Hunter, we did it.
Oh, yay, I'm so excited. Yes, and you know what? This is actually a great segue into like something Billy said earlier. He said 2/3 degrees of separation can make networking easier instead of strangers. You can boost that with mutual connections. So because I am friends with Loco and Hunter, and they invited me onto this, this show, I'm actually familiar with Negs's content, and I've, been in her stream a few times. So, being able to have the opportunity to speak to her and be on a show with her, it also allows me to go, hey, you know what? By the way, I just wanted to let you know I think you're cool. And I know we're both playing the same stuff. So if you want to do something, we can do stuff.
I'm going to cry.
That is awesome. We need to clip that and use that as our testimonial to get people on the show. We make connection.
There you go. You need a Match.com style fake ad doing like connecting streamers since insert year here.
Hunter, project idea. Yeah. Streamer dating app.
Oh no.
Oh no.
No.
That's not where we were going. Okay, sorry.
No, just a funny mock ad. Yeah, yeah, that's the direction. I do think that brings up a really good point though of like actually the first person that I started collabing with recently, who I now play Dead by Daylight with every single week, a buddy of mine, Jason. We didn't know each other. We had a mutual friend in common. I started streaming Dead by Daylight totally alone, and I didn't know anyone who played it. And Jason played Sea of Thieves with my friend Gullible Gambit. And when Jason expressed an interest in playing Dead by Daylight, Gullible Gambit added us in a tweet and was like, I know that the two of you don't know each other. You're both friends of mine. I think you'd make good content together. Just wanted to make the introduction. And that was really nice because then we started DMing each other and we're like, hey, kind of testing the waters. Like, I'll watch your stream, you watch my stream, no pressure, but if you think maybe we might have fun together. And now we stream together like 3 nights a week and our communities love each other. And that wouldn't have happened if someone else hadn't said like, hey, I think you guys should chit chat and talk.
That's awesome.
So being able to do that for your friends as well. Networking isn't just about shouting out your own stuff. Look at it as an opportunity to just everyone in the industry, good people should know good people. And regardless of what your role is in that, if you're the one being introduced, if you're the one making the introductions, if you're the one putting yourself out there, the end goal is that we want great people to share content creation and our love of games and to make more people happy on the internet with what we create. So however you can be a part of facilitating that, we all grow and win in the end when we participate in helping nice people meet each other,
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So guys, just a heads up, we are going to be wrapping up the show soon. If you guys would like to enter to win an Elgato Wave 3, which literally isn't even available right now. It is the new Elgato microphone, ! Audio in chat to enter. We're going to be announcing the giveaway here in just a minute. So get your last entries in. And if you win, you should say something so we know. Yes, get those audio spams in chat.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to win. This is going to be great.
And so I do want to add something. We talked about how, recognizing the signs of like someone not interested. I would say try not to take it too personally. There could be so many reasons for them not to reciprocate, whether it's a follow on Twitter or answering an email. or a DM. Like there are a million reasons for why they just try not to take it personally. Like, yeah, they might not like you, but like don't assume that. It's not good for not good for your mentality. And again, there's probably just more, innocent reasons for them not reciprocating.
My anxiety gets the best of me easily. Like
I know.
Next, we've talked about this several times now. If I see a DM, it doesn't really matter who it is. Oftentimes I'm like, oh, it's just my brain just immediately sets on fire. And I'm like, I can't do this right now. And then sometimes it just gets forgotten and somebody will think that I don't like them or I'm not reciprocating or something. But it's as simple as anxiety brain took over and I had to go do other stuff.
Yup. Which, speaking of that, I have terrible anxiety. Ever since I started streaming, my anxiety went through the roof. I don't know what it is, but my everything is just on a downhill. Everything. So,
streaming's great, guys. You should try it.
I actually started keeping notes because I'm old now and I can't remember anything at all. Not a damn thing. What do you call it? I love Evernote. I can create checklists and stuff like that. So if instead of sort of like Negs, I also have a certain amount of spoons that I have for each day, and I try to split up those spoons in different days and different notes in my Evernote, and I have little checklists. So it's like, this day I'm gonna do this stuff. This day I'm gonna do this stuff. This day I'm gonna do this stuff. So it's it helps me keep on track. Yeah.
I like that. Organization is huge.
Yes, we should do a show just on that because I would love tips on that.
Write it down.
Organization makes a huge difference. I will say super less relevant idea or suggestion since conventions are so on hold right now. But something that I saw in the past year that I really love was a business card design that said like, hi, I'm Negaoryx. We met at, and then there's a line there, and then it said, we chatted about blank. We were going to follow up with each other about blank. And it was so cute. It was done in a very, adorably designed way. But the person who would receive the business card would be like, we met at E3. We chatted about our Huskies. We were going to follow up about sponsorship or whatever it might be. I can't tell y'all how many times at conventions, especially smaller streamers, will like come to a meet and greet or something and then give me a business card without having told me they were a streamer or telling me anything about their content or their community or whatever. And then when I get home and I have a stack of literally like 40 or 50 business cards, and I'm going through all of these ones of people who never even told me they stream, never said anything about their content. It's like, who was this? Why did I have their card? What did we talk about? I don't know. Definitely not saying you have to, but even if it's just on your end, you write it on a business card. Remembering personal connections with people and why you met them and took down their information is huge.
And this is one of the things that you can use Evernote for on mobile as well, because you can just take a photo right within the app and then make a note. So you got the business card. You don't have to hold on to it. I know that for me, it's definitely a problem when I come back and I've got like the bottom of my suitcase just covered in business cards. Take a photo, and then you can make a little note in Evernote and give it its own separate tag so that you can go back and find it afterward after you're doing all your wrap up from conventions.
Yep. Yeah, I love Evernote. Just the fact that it connects with your computer. You have a computer app as well as it on your phone. You can just do everything, and it's just it's so good.
Primo, it's my number one. An additional one to that too. You can take a photo of the business card and the person and be like, here it is. So you can remember the face, the interaction, and you have a little note with it.
I feel weird taking pictures of people.
Me too. It's like, hey, hold on right there.
That's why I just have a whole picture of me on my business card. And usually people will remember me because I have a picture of myself on my business card. And it's also one of those thicker ones. So it feels important. So they're like, oh, wow. Every time I hand my business card,
the weight of importance.
Oh, my goodness.
Is this fancy Friskk?
Wow.
The fancy Friskk?
I know. Fancy Friskk.
Oh.
Stop it.
All right, so unfortunately we do have to wrap up here for the day. Thank you guys so much for joining us. The Elgato ad is playing automatically because this thing definitely the stream deck,
because I got this.
We're gonna do some shout outs and then we'll do our closing Elgato ad that Hunter is going to deliver for us. But first, Friskk, where can we find you and what are you up to?
I was actually about to give my dog a treat, but
okay, you can do that.
That's okay. Again, my name is Friskk, and that's with two Ks. And you can find me at twitch.tv/Friskk. You can from there you can find all of my other social media links. And I am all about good vibes, Dead by Daylight, everything in between. That is everything that I do. And I look forward to seeing you guys on the internet. Yeah.
How do you have good vibes when you're hanging people on hooks?
Oh, it's gonna be okay. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
Loco, please. Please. Common misconception.
Of course.
Dead by Daylight, very wholesome, friendship-oriented game.
Yes.
Just saying.
Next, what about you? What are you up to?
Well, when I'm not playing the wholesome family-friendly game that is Dead by Daylight, you can catch me twitter.com/Negaoryx. Negaoryx is usually the best place to find me, mostly because I stream 4 days a week on my own channel doing variety content. Right now, that is a playthrough of The Last of Us Part 2 on survival with no puppers harmed. But I'm also live 2 different tabletop RPG shows on Twitch, both on Saving Throw Show and Table Story, both on Tuesdays. I'm a freelance host. I'm a voice actor. I do other stuff that I can't think of right now. So Twitter is usually the best place to keep up to date with all of that good stuff that's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Have you slept before? Have you ever done that?
What was that
Slept?
word you
Do you sleep? Do you know what's that? You close your eyes and you don't do anything for a few hours?
For a few hours.
Ow, you lost me at hours. For a second, I thought you were describing blinking. And I was
Yeah.
I see what she's going for here. And then you said a few hours. And
It's a long time of blinking.
No.
A long blink.
Yeah. sometimes
blink.
In the before times, I used to take naps on airplanes when I was traveling.
That's productive.
You know, it's
I like
pretty good because unless you're paying for Wi-Fi, you're cut out. You can't be emailing and
I always pay for Wi-Fi.
It's like you're forced to sleep.
I force myself not. That's exactly what I do. I don't pay for Wi-Fi. That way I have to sleep on airplanes.
Wow.
So, well, I did. So,
Did. Mm-hmm.
but thank you for having me. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you guys. And if you guys are interested in winning some more awesome Elgato stuff, we will be giving away stuff every single week for the next couple of weeks. So don't leave. Follow this channel because we will be doing another giveaway later this week. You can follow the StreamerSquare Twitter for more information on when that's going to happen. Hunter, why don't you tell me about Elgato?
My pleasure. This segment was brought to you by the Elgato Wave. As part of our Elgato partnership, the Elgato Wave 3 is a USB microphone that's more like a microphone and mixer all in one. Pardon my puberty. With Elgato's Wavelink software, you can easily route your audio from hardware or software applications and control the volume for you and your audience independently, which I think is absolutely critical. Elgato Wave 3 is available now at elgato.com, and you can type !Elgato in the chat to get some more information.
Amazing. And where can we find you, Hunter?
Twitch.tv/TheHunterWild or on Twitter @TheHunterWildTV. I always put like this, like there's like a neon, tracer from my finger. I'm ET. @TheHunterWildTV on Twitter. That is definitely the, is that, that was probably subliminal. That probably worked its way in.
Yeah, probably.
I did see it a couple of times, like pop up into the frame.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Twitter's my main go-to for all things related to me personally and the brand. And I'm also right here, right next to the incredible Loco every Monday for our Stream Scene show.
This is true. Yes. Hi, I'm Loco. You can find me at twitch.tv/LOWCO and twitter.com/Loco2525. I do a lot of just chatting. We talk about video games. We talk about streaming. So I talk a lot about the industry and I have my hot takes. So I do that on my own channel and it's fun. And then we do StreamerSquare. So if you guys enjoy this content, you can follow. We do shows Monday through Wednesday. We have 2 shows a day, including a workshop this Wednesday covering Streamlabs OBS. So if you're looking to get into streaming or looking to check out Streamlabs OBS, we will be actually teaching you guys how to do that and answering any questions you might have about Streamlabs on Wednesday. So you can check our schedule below the channel. Otherwise, Twitter is a great place to keep track of all things StreamerSquare. And we hope to see you for our next show. We don't have any tonight. Your Brand Your Business is off this week, but we will have our shows tomorrow. So thank you guys so much for being here. This has been the Stream Scene, and we'll see you next time.